Hello everyone, and welcome to Picture Avenue. My name's Callum,
And my name's Harry.
and welcome to episode 1.
Yay!
You will not believe how long it's taken us to set this up.
It has taken forever.
It's been about 2 hours. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Explain to them, Callum, what we've been doing.
What I have tried to do is use microphones from a SingStar game to try and record this. That didn't work, so I used about 3 different headsets I had lying around. They didn't work. I used a laptop and I used a PC. I've used so many different things. I've used speakers, plugging into speakers, rerouting stuff. Never worked. So now I've resorted to using my phone. That's it. We're just recording off the phone.
Yeah, we are recording it on an iPhone. And it actually, the quality of this...
sounds a lot better than what we had before.
Yeah, before it was just very staticky and it wouldn't have been very nice to listen to, but this is nice and clear.
This is what we've got for now.
Yeah, this is what we have for now until we get better production values, but yeah. But anyway, this podcast isn't about microphones and wires and technical difficulties. This podcast is about movies.
Yes.
And hence the name Picture Avenue. It's all about...
you want to explain that one?
I'll explain it, yeah. It's all about going to the pictures. So, essentially, myself and Callum, we're just doing this for fun.
Yeah.
Basically. We are both fans of films. We both go to the cinema quite often. We are both studying film-related things. I'm studying acting. You're studying film. Yeah.
Very film-related.
Yeah. So, film, cinema, storytelling in general, it's a big part of our lives. And, we are aware of the sort of the podcast industry. It's not really an industry, is it? It's just kind of like we're aware of the existence of podcasts, and we thought, hey, why don't we try and do it ourselves? So here we are.
And so obviously with this podcast we're going completely spoiler free.
Yes. Basically, we wanted this podcast to be listenable for everyone. So regardless of whether or not you have seen a film, or you're thinking about seeing a film, or whatever, you can still listen to us talk about it, because we're not going to spoil anything. The only things we will spoil is things that have been confirmed in the trailers, because that doesn't really count as a spoiler.
If it's viewable on YouTube, it's fair game.
Yeah.
If you can physically search it and watch it in 3 seconds,
if you can watch it for free, basically.
If you watch it for free, it's fine.
Yeah. Anything that you have to pay a ticket price for, that's considered a spoiler, basically.
That's a spoiler, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Harry, what are we going to cover today then?
Right, okay, so we are going to spend this first episode talking about the films that we've seen, which have come out this year, so since the start of January. So we have got video game adaptation Assassin's Creed, A Monster Calls, which is based off the novel by Patrick Ness, I think.
I have no idea.
I think it was a novel. Something that Patrick Ness wrote. It's been adapted for film. Lion, which is based off the incredible true story. Split, which is a thriller horror by M. Night Shyamalan. Sing, which is an animation with animals singing. Hacksaw Ridge, which is also another inspiring true story. Rings, a new horror film. The Lego Batman movie, which is a spin-off from the Lego movie. And The Founder, another true story. Not exactly inspiring though.
No, it's not. It's not one of these feel-good.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
All in good time.
But first of all, at the start of every episode of this podcast, we are going to start with a spotlight film. So it's a film which we are going to put the spotlight on, and we are going to basically talk about in more depth, basically. So it's one that I guess we have a lot to say about, I suppose.
Yeah.
Or one which has been quite...
Yeah, the film that we're going to talk about the most.
Yes. And also one which has been quite popular in kind of for numerous reasons.
Yeah.
So, Callum.
Yes.
let's rock down to Picture Avenue. What is our spotlight film for this month?
Well, you guessed it, it's La La Land.
It's pretty strange that we keep running into each other.
Maybe it means something.
I doubt it.
Yeah, I don't think so. You could just write your own rules, write something that's as interesting as you are.
What are you gonna do?
I have my own club.
Is that gonna happen every time? I think so.
La La Land.
La La Land. Wasn't that a beautiful bit of ditty that? The soundtrack for La La Land.
It is a good soundtrack. I personally think, and this is just going on to kind of our initial thoughts of this film, I think the soundtrack and the film as a whole is a tiny bit overrated. Just a tiny bit.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah. Because everyone is banging on about how great this film is.
You talk to anyone who's seen this film, they're like, "Oh, it was so great! It was amazing!" Okay, calm down a sec. Just what happened in that? But they're amazing. This happened. This happened. This happened. Right? Why was it amazing? Because it is. Okay. Right. Yeah. Great.
See that? Right. I think everyone's kind of caught up in I don't know what it is. The
Overhype.
Soundtrack. Overhype, the fact that the director has done some great work beforehand, the fact that it has been nominated for tons of awards. A lot of people are caught up in that. And because of that, if you say that you don't like La La Land, you get ripped to shreds, basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to obviously be honest about our opinions anyway. So even if we didn't like this film, we would say. But the good thing is, we do like this film.
We do, yes.
So it's all right. Keep your pitchforks, down and all that kind of
Down,
stuff.
boy.
Just yeah.
Yeah.
So La La Land, it is a great film.
It's so colourful, isn't it?
It's colourful.
Literally,
yes.
the first thing I thought when I saw the opening sequence was, "Oh my god!"
Yeah. That I think the first 2 minutes of La La Land,
It just hits you.
it is the best. It must be the best 2 minutes. The best opening 2 minutes to any film I've ever seen ever. It is.
We were just sat in our seats in shock. Just
Yeah, I just had a massive smile on my face.
I know.
It just makes you happy. And you think that it's going to set the tone for the whole film. But yeah, when you go into La La Land, and obviously we are going to keep this spoiler free, but when you go into La La Land, once you finish watching it, you will realise that it's not all
sunshine and roses.
yeah, it's not all joy and happiness. It is a very, and this sounds strange for a film which is meant to be a musical, which is so outlandish and unrealistic in principle. It is quite a realistic film, especially towards the end. It deals with some very real subjects, very real issues.
Yeah, you will see. It's a. Can I say this? It's a love story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty obvious.
Yeah, it's a love story, and you see all these films about boy meets girl. They run off. They have tons of fun. No issues found. Except for that one thing that happened that one time, they get over it, they get married, they have kids.
Yeah, by the end of the film, they're just as fine as they were before,
Yeah.
and then you come out of it like you were skipping a step.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's not what this film is. This film puts a reality check on it, really.
Mm-hmm.
It sort of snaps you out of what you think where the film is going.
Yes.
And that's all I'll say about it without spoiling it,
Yeah.
really.
It takes a very conventional subgenre of films, them sort of old style musicals.
Sappy musicals that people fall in love to.
Yeah. It takes the conventions of that sort of mini genre, and it turns it on its head. And that is probably the film's biggest strength: the fact that it does become a bit more real towards the end. It does sort of take a dive into more realistic territory, and it's sort of breaking the tradition a little bit. It's doing something different, and that is what you like to see in a film nowadays. I think sort of just doing something new. That's always really commendable, and that's I think that is La La Land's biggest strength. The fact that it isn't a typical musical. It is something different. So yeah, and I think that first and foremost, Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone,
Two perfect actors.
they're great. They're great. They are great performers.
You look at those actors, you say, I want to either be them or be next to them.
yeah.
I mean, that's what I think, at least.
I want to be next to Ryan Gosling.
Definitely.
That'd be great. So he's an undeniably handsome chap.
He's got the whole like beard scruff. It's just there. It's perfect.
Yeah. And Emma Stone is
Oh, Spidey's girlfriend.
Spidey's ex-girlfriend now.
Ooh.
Well, it's true, isn't it? Yeah. But anyway, so the director, Damien Chazelle, I think I'm saying his name right. He previously did a film called Whiplash, which we both
cracking film.
Yeah, brilliant film. Very intense. This is obviously quite different in tone. But it's for the benefit of our listeners, by the way. Callum was just doing a sort of miming
Drums.
playing the drums really intensely.
If you don't know what Whiplash is, it's about drumming.
It's about a drummer.
It's about a drummer. I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
I did that for a reason.
We should probably
just point that out.
Yeah. If I just said you were randomly being a drummer for no reason.
But we're not going to talk too much about Whiplash because that's not on our list.
But what is interesting, I think, is
Whiplash won the award for best edited.
Did it?
Yeah, that's why we watched it.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Oh, you watched it.
I watched it at college.
Oh right. Yeah. I watched it. I think I watched it a while back.
On your lonesome.
Yeah, probably on my one. So Damien Chazelle. This is obviously a very different film. La La Land is from Whiplash, but the one thing that is common is how music is used to sort of drive the plot forward, I guess you could say. What did you think of the use of the music? Like, what did you just
in La La
general?
Land?
Yes, in La La Land. Yes.
Use the music in La La Land. They open it so happy. I can say that.
Yes.
Yeah. It opens and it's so happy and it's brilliant. It's beautiful. The music is so upbeat. And you feel it needs to be upbeat when you're looking at what you're looking at. But then, as they transition on, they get to more sort of the realistic scenes, pulling away from that musical of what a basic musical is. It gets to realistic, sort of mundane, sort of only, like, just the only instrument will be a piano.
Yes.
Playing about 4 notes, quite either really low down or really high up, or switching between the two.
Yes.
And it builds, and then it sort of makes you feel as if everything's sort of cornered off. It's just sort of sad.
It is like the tone does fluctuate
A lot.
and the music sort of fluctuates along with it. And what I think is also really clever is a piece of music doesn't necessarily correspond to the mood of any particular scene, because towards the end there is sort of and again trying to sort of stay off spoilers here. There is a bit at the end where sort of happy, upbeat music is used, but it
doesn't fit.
Yeah, it doesn't. It does fit, but it's sort of like
You don't want it.
there's kind of a dream sequence towards the end.
Yeah.
Without going into any more detail, there's a kind of a dream sequence which is quite happy and jolly, and obviously happy and jolly music is used, but the actual reality of things isn't happy and jolly, and that's basically, it sets it apart from just basically being music which is just used to sort of to correspond with the mood, as in it can contrast to the actual mood, which is quite clever. So the use of music in this film is very intelligent. Yeah.
About the dream sequencing, with context, you realise
You'll get what we're saying
about the jolly music and about how it might not fit.
Yeah.
But us just saying it won't make a lot of sense. So go see the film.
Yes, but rest assured that the use of the soundtrack in this film is very clever. Also, fun fact, Ryan Gosling, when he's playing the piano, apparently, I'm not sure whether this is true or not, but I've heard that he didn't know how to play the piano
No, yeah.
originally, but he learned how to play it for the film. That is astonishing.
Yeah, and they also didn't sing in a studio, they sung on set.
That
They
There you go.
They physically stood there on set and sang with no backing tracks or anything, just to the sound of a piano or nothing.
They did that with Les Mis as well. The film adaptation of Les Mis, they did that, and that's great.
It works so well.
It does, definitely. I mean, obviously it helps if, you know, your actors are good singers, but, you know, it's just better, isn't it? It makes it feel and sound less manufactured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Harry, with a film this good, surely it deserves some kind of award.
Yeah, some awards. Not necessarily all of them.
Yeah, I heard it got a lot of award nominations.
La La Land got, I believe it was 14 nominations for the Academy Awards, the Oscars. The question is it worthy of all of these awards?
Well, we don't know. Because we're just two guys.
Yeah, we're just two
People who enjoy
people
films.
who go to the pictures.
Yeah.
And so we're not the Academy. But then again, we all have our own opinions. And I'd say, in my opinion, I wouldn't give Best Picture to La La Land.
No, I wouldn't give Best Picture to La La Land.
And that's not because La La Land is a bad film.
Nope.
It's a great film.
There were better pictures.
There were better pictures. Definitely. And we will get on to them
Yes.
later on in this podcast. But yeah, what awards would you say La La Land is worthy of winning? What do you think it deserves to be recognised for?
Right, so I'm just looking at the list here.
We are just going by Oscar nominations because it's been nominated for too many films elsewhere.
So many things.
So we're just going to go by the Academy Awards.
I think the leading actor and actress, I think they deserve that.
So Ryan Gosling and Emma
Emma
Stone.
Stone.
Yeah.
I think costume design, I'm with them on that. It fit. It looked amazing.
Yeah, I agree.
Film editing, the first thing I said, I think, when walking out of the cinema was the editing was amazing.
Yes,
So-
and particularly, I mean, what springs to mind, the opening scene. It looks like it's done in one take, even though it probably isn't.
It isn't. Yeah, no, it's amazing though. There's a bunch more here. Music, I think we can agree clearly on music.
Yeah, just looking at the other nominations for the music categories, the original score, as well as La La Land, you have Jackie. Neither of us have
We
seen
just
that.
look so disinterested in it. So.
Yeah. It might be good, but we just didn't go to watch it. Lion, I feel, had a really good musical score. I quite like the soundtrack in that film. There's no, like obvious songs, but the music was quite nice. Moonlight, we've not seen. We might see, but we haven't seen it at this moment. And Passengers has been nominated as well, which I was quite surprised with. But yeah, there's no contest there really. It's La La Land, isn't it?
Yeah, it's La La Land.
Yeah,
It's you see the film for the music, and
Yeah.
obviously other stuff. But the first thing you hear in the trailer is, well, not music, but
It's one of the film's selling points, basically.
yeah,
the
we
songs.
have good music.
Yeah. And obviously the song category. I mean, it's got 2 songs nominated, so it's likely that one of them's going to win.
Yeah.
It's up against "Can't Stop the Feeling" from Trolls, which I think everyone's kind of sick of by now.
I am so sick of that song.
And "The Empty Chair" from Jim, the James Foley story. I don't know.
Let's forget it.
And how far? But although it is up against "How Far I'll Go" from Moana, which is a cracking good song. So, from a cracking good film.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Yeah,
so
that's a good point.
there might be some contest there, but yeah, music. If it was recognised for that, that's great. And what are the other ones we got? We got production design, sound editing, sound mixing, writing. Yeah, any of that.
They could take it or leave it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, in conclusion, La La Land is a great film. It's revolutionary in some ways, I guess you could say.
It's different.
It's different, and
Different's
it's a bit
good. Different's good.
absolutely. And it's a bit overrated. Why do we think it's a bit overrated?
Well, everyone just says it's really good, and they don't know why, and then they just say, "Oh, it's beautiful." They fell in love, but that's not the reason why it's good. It's good because the editing was brilliant, the music is good, it was well directed, it was just done really well, and then people just only see the romance side of it, the story side, and a small part of the story side, and there's like, "Oh, it's amazing because of that." That's why I think it's overrated.
All right then. And you also said that you felt it dragged a bit.
Yes. About sort of halfway through the film, I felt it was sort of dragging on a bit. Just sort of, people argue, "Oh, it doesn't. Not everything has to be plot. It can just be nice." That is true. I appreciated the nice bits, but there were bits that just felt as if they ran on a bit too long.
Yeah.
It was sort of like I was wanting to check my watch.
You're saying the same messages. You're conveying the same things.
I get it. It's a good. Yeah. Just it's. I didn't like the middle.
As a whole package, though,
brilliant film.
Yeah, great film. So, yeah, for me personally, I mean, I do find it a bit overrated. I just don't think. I mean, it's a great film. I wouldn't call it a masterpiece. There's just them films that you look at and you wouldn't necessarily say, best picture at the Oscars. Sort of. For me personally, I wouldn't say that. I was also taken off guard by the fact that it wasn't all sunshine and happiness, and it turned out to be a bit more realistic. That took me off guard because I wasn't expecting that. But I suppose you can turn that on its head and say that's a strength of the film. The fact that it did, surprise you. It surprised me in that way. So once we have finished a discussion about a certain picture, we are going to give it a mark out of 10.
Yeah.
Basically. So, for La La Land, what would you give it out of 10, buddy?
A 9.
A 9. I'd give it a 9.
Yeah.
Strong 9.
Strong 9.
Yes. Alright then.
This is sort of moving off the spotlight now.
Yeah, so we've moved off the spotlight. After that, we talk about films that we have seen together, films that we have, both gone to the pictures as a twosome, twosome? I don't know.
I have no idea. A duo.
As a duo. We are going to talk about the films that we both saw as a duo.
Yes.
That is what I wanted to say.
Exactly.
So, yes, these are all in release order. Just to get some kind of organisation up in here. So we're going to start off with video game to film adaptation Assassin's Creed.
Oh, Harry, I'm really upset.
Why, Callum?
Because they made a film about the video game Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
It's terrible. No matter, I'm gonna weigh in here.
Okay.
Because it's been bubbling up inside since like the 1st of January.
Yes.
Whether or not you have played the games Assassin's Creed, 1 through to how many they've made, you're still going to be disappointed by this film. It doesn't matter if you've played an hour or thousands of hours in this game. It is just an all-round bad film.
Yeah, like, it really doesn't matter whether you have that knowledge or not. I mean, basically, if you have the knowledge of the apple or whatever it is...
Yeah,
like,
the Apple of Eden.
Yeah, if you have all that knowledge...
you understand the film a little bit.
You'll have a bad time, but you won't be as confused. If you don't have that knowledge, you'll have a bad time and you'll be confused. So that means you'll have even more of a bad time.
Yeah.
And it's really good for us because like one of us, myself, hasn't played the games, but Callum has played the games. So we both have those different perspectives.
Different points of view. Yeah.
Yes, and like afterwards, we didn't come out saying, "Oh, that was great, that was fantastic." We didn't end up talking about the things that we liked. We just spent a good 10 minutes afterwards. It was just me asking you, like,
was this a thing?
What did we just watch? Yeah. What does this mean? What were they doing? And I don't think even you yourself could...
I didn't even know half the time. I was just like, I don't know. That's new. That's different because they take the main character, they make him obviously the main character of the thing, and then they add weird things in there. I'm not going to say it because it's spoilers, but obviously, and I'll say this, the film is split between inside the axiom and outside the axiom.
Which is basically a for the benefit of anyone who doesn't know what this film is about, like it's
a thing that travels you back into time,
yeah.
back through your ancestors' past. I'm pretty sure it's
Yeah.
called the axiom.
Uh,
I can't remember. It's been a while since
Yeah.
I played the games, but
it transports Michael Fassbender's character
yeah,
back into the
Past
17th century. I don't know.
Back in the Spanish Inquisition.
See, we don't even know the specifics of this film. Like, we're not.
It was
bothered.
on the screen, but I was half asleep pretty much. Just sort
Yeah.
of. And what it does is it switches from being in the Spanish Inquisition and reality. And in the game, you spend about 95% of your time, 99% of your time in the Spanish Inquisition or wherever you are in time. In the movie, it's about 60-40 in reality and then in Spanish Inquisition.
The 40% being in the
Spanish Inquisition, yeah.
and the
40,
60, yeah.
yeah. Reality, obviously reality's boring. That's what we've
In this film, it is.
In this
yes.
film, it is.
And just in general, like
Yeah.
watching a film at cinema, it's far better than just real life.
It's just, and the moment you get into Spanish Inquisition, you get into it. The music starts going, the action starts kicking off. You're like, oh, this is brilliant. 10 minutes later, you're back in an office, getting talked to about why you need some artifact to save something.
And it's just boring,
It is boring.
isn't it? And what doesn't help is that it's steeped in exposition, as in it's just characters talking about these things, and it's not engaging. Like just listening to people talking about this, it's not engaging, and it's like you say, the majority of the film isn't in the
Spanish Inquisition.
Spanish Inquisition.
There you go.
And the majority of the film is just that exposition. The bits that are in the Spanish Inquisition are really good visually.
Visually, yes.
It is great to look at, and the majority of the trailer was made up of that, and
Yeah.
that's why when we watched the trailer, we were like,
Hyped it
this
so much.
This film's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like just go to the cinemas on around New Year. We're going to have a great time watching this. No.
Worst way to start the new year.
Yeah, this is the first film we watched this year,
and it was appalling.
After the disappointing year that was 2016, just for the world in general, it wasn't very. It was very disheartening to start it with.
We didn't hit the
Creed.
ground running, did we?
Not exactly. No. But yeah, and even the acting, wasn't that
Editing
great.
as well.
Yeah.
I now spot continuity issues like an eagle.
Yeah, you being a film studio.
Being
Yeah,
film
yeah.
studio doing editing and all that, I will just see someone's shirt unbuttoned, one button, and then the next shot it's fully done up. I will notice that. I will notice a bottle move. I will notice a Rubik's Cube slightly changed. It was all over the place. In the action sequences, not so much because it's more CGI and
Yeah.
free stuff.
I think most of the effort was put into those action sequences.
Yeah, they actually.
I think the real heart of this film is the action.
is the action.
But what's a real shame is that it only makes up 20% of it. or
Yeah,
something
it
like
makes
that,
about half an hour of the whole 2-hour film.
which is such a shame.
It is a
It's such
shame.
And I think the most horrible thing about Assassin's Creed is that it's such a corporate project. It is a cash grab. Basically, filmmakers they've looked at the source material. They thought, right, okay, this has got an established following. They're going to come and watch our movie. They clearly weren't bothered about. And this might not be the attitude that they had, but this is
It's how it came across.
Yeah, it came across as such that their heart wasn't in it. They made it purely to get the attention of the established following, and also the people who have just heard about Assassin's Creed and not played it, like myself, and get them to watch the movie on the basis that the games have a following and people really like the source material. That's basically it, and that's a real shame. And I was thinking back to a film that I saw late last year called American Pastoral, which was written and directed by Ewan McGregor. Critically, it didn't do very well. I personally thought it was a great film. And it's a shame that, people won't go and see films like that, which, critically, people rip into them. but you know, you yourself might actually enjoy them if you go, if you give it a chance and you go to see it. It's a shame that people won't go and see good under the radar films like that, but they will go and see
Blockbuster films that are flops.
yeah, and just plain boring and rubbish.
Yeah.
It's a real shame.
One positive I do have to mention about it: all the action sequences. Though I mentioned earlier, mainly CGI. That's not true. Actually, they did all the stunts, even the free falling. They did that for real. They got someone up like 150 feet and kicked him off, and he fell into like a massive
And you see,
parachute.
that's great.
It's great. It looked really
But
real.
it's not enough to save the film.
That lasted 5 seconds.
Yeah.
It was great. It took like a day to shoot, but it was 5 seconds. And that was just very unfortunate, to be honest.
It's a real shame.
Let's move this
All
on.
the adrenaline which was running through that stuntman's body. Just
It shows the power of a trailer as well.
Yeah.
Because you watch that trailer, you see this a lot. You watch a trailer filled with some relevant music or some rock music that fills you with passion, has some good, quick,
get some Kanye West playing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna like this movie.
some quick edited shots. It's
Yeah.
brilliant. And then the film comes around, and it's just mundane. And that action sequence you've been looking for might not even be in the film. It might have just been.
That's the thing with trailers nowadays. Like they don't have
They don't have everything in the film. They just shoot special shots for the trailer
yeah.
to get you to go. It's. I don't want to talk about this. Anyway, let's move on.
I'd give it a 2 out of 10.
2 out. Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. Maybe, yeah, a 2 out of 10.
Should we move on to Lion?
Let's move on to Lion.
Okay, so Lion. Lion, based off the true story of a young lad who gets lost on a train when he's out from his.
India, isn't it?
I think it's in an Asian place.
We'll just say Asia. We don't.
Yeah.
We should.
Yeah, we've sort of forgotten. We're doing a lot of this from memory. So this young boy, he's out with his brother. He gets whisked away on a train. He's lost. He ends up getting adopted by this Australian family, and then later on in life, when he tastes a food which reminds him of his childhood, he suddenly has an overwhelming urge to
go back and find
his home, his family. And I don't know about you, but I think that Lion it's an incredible piece of work.
I think visually it's stunning.
Oh, that's an interesting point of view to have. Yeah.
I watched it, and you saw all the the crane shots of a train going through the countryside and not countryside, but all the landscapes that you saw and how vibrant they were with colour, how real they were, because real places. They actually just went to the place and said, right, we'll shoot here.
Yeah,
wasn't
it? It all feels very real, and obviously it's based off a true story. But
so they had to make
it
feel real,
of course, and like you say, the way it was played out and everything, it has a lot of truth to it, and also the way they sort of merged, Google Maps with real life and all that kind of stuff.
It works so well.
It works brilliantly. Yes,
I was in awe with the visuals.
I was just in awe of the story itself.
The story is so moving.
It is moving. And
every review you listen to or read will just say moving story.
Yes,
because it is literally a moving story.
It is, and the story itself. I mean, just taking a back seat from talking about the film for the moment. The story itself is an incredible story because it shows sheer determination. For Saru, who's the name of the boy who got lost. For him to, all those years later, find his family, because of new technologies, it's incredible. It's incredible to think that actually happened, and so just taking a backseat from looking at the film for a minute, the story, like the true story itself, is it's astounding. But the way it's presented, I mean, all the facts are there.
Yeah. And the way it's acted, Dev Patel. Oh my God.
He is.
He is.
He needs to win that Oscar.
And
he needs to win that Oscar.
I already have pre-found love for Dev Patel because I watched the 3 seasons of Newsroom, and he was in that, and I loved it. And I watched the film, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Because Dev Patel, Dev Patel's amazing, and he just played it so well.
Yes, and also the young actor who played young Saru, for like the first
He kept
third
popping up.
of the film. Yeah.
It happened a lot longer than I thought it was going to go on for.
Yeah. That first section of the film lasts for a long time.
About 40 minutes.
And he carries it.
There's subtitles. I thought the whole thing was to be subtitled.
Yeah, but you know, like some might say that having subtitles makes your film less engaging. It was no less engaging.
You read those with with sweat beating down your head.
Yeah,
You wanted to know what happened next.
absolutely. And you know, not just the actors who played Suri, but also Rooney Mara and Nicole Kidman. Like they were both fantastic as well. Like acting all round, brilliant.
Yeah.
And just an inspiring film and a real feel-good film towards the end as well.
Yeah.
I feel like when Sia's what was it called? Never Give Up, I think it's called, the song at the end of the credits. Basically, Sia has there's a song from Sia at the end of the credits, and that's playing as you know you're walking out, and you just feel very good.
You feel good about life.
Yeah,
knowing that happened.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow.
Yeah, miracles can happen. It's astounding. So yeah, Lion, loved it. Absolutely brilliant. So marks out of 10 for this one.
Oh. See, I didn't see a lot of issues with it, but I'm not going to jump the gun and give it a straight 10.
I'd straight up give it 10 out of 10.
Would you see?
I would. I would. Definitely.
I'm thinking about... Well, yeah, it fits all the things. I mean, I don't have a bad word to say about it. Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. I'd give it a 10. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Gee, yeah, okay.
Excellent. I mean, I suppose you can give a 10 out of 10 film. Just because you give something a 10 out of 10 doesn't mean it's
It is a 10.
absolutely flawless.
Yeah.
I
I mean, it
mean,
could just be
obviously,
something-
everything has
A flaw.
tiny flaws. You
And
know.
it could just be a film you really enjoyed yourself. Like you
Yeah.
said, you saw, what was it, American Pastor?
American Pastor, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'd probably have given that a 9, maybe.
But apparently, I haven't read into it, but the critics gave it something terrible or something.
Yeah, they thought it was bad. I thought it was a really compelling film. Like, but yeah,
Anyway,
Lion.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. And a definite contender for Best Picture at the Oscars.
Yeah.
Although, its main competition is La La Land. No, just joking. Its main competition is what we are about to talk about right now, which is
Hacksaw Ridge.
Hacksaw Ridge.
Hacksaw Ridge.
So, what is it about, Callum?
It is about, and this is where my history comes in. It's about a conscientious objector.
Conscientious objective, yeah.
What was his name?
I cannot remember.
Let's find his name. It's Desmond Doss. Now, Desmond Doss is a conscientious objector, and he goes to serve his country, but he refuses to pick up a gun.
Yes, he wants to dedicate, you know, his life to serving his country, but he is very much a pacifist, so he doesn't want to kill anyone. He wants to save people.
And it goes without saying, he takes a beating for that.
Yes,
Literally.
yes. His fellow
Teammates.
yeah, they don't like that at first.
No, they're not too supporting of what he did. But what he actually did was he saved 76, I believe.
He saved a lot of people.
Yeah, I would say a lot
on-
of people.
on the battlefield. Yes.
Yeah, and it was absolutely stunning what he did.
And it's another true story, and it's, you know, it's incredible. Like the story itself, separate from the film, absolutely inspiring, incredibly moving. When he is saving all of these people, that particular section, like it had me like really choked up. Like,
Yeah.
like just the notion that he was, you know, just saving all these people. And, you know, he wasn't on there without a gun. Like, that bravery, that sheer courage, like, just, you know, like, seeing that depicted on film, that I found that very moving. Just that whole concept, that whole event. Like, I thought that was incredible.
Yeah, it was incredible. And so yeah, Andrew Garfield, he plays Desmond Doss really well.
Incredibly well.
A casting choice which I thought was quite odd, When we both walked out, we both sort of agreed on a bit of an odd choice. Was Vince Vaughn.
Yes, it was interesting that he was in this film because he's very
Comedic.
Yeah, he's well known for his more comedic roles. So this was a comedic role in parts that he had, but he suited it really well.
He did, and we both sort of had that moment. We both looked at each other when we saw him first enter the frame.
It's Fred Claus.
That's what we thought when he entered the frame.
Yeah.
But no,
That's all I can think about. It's only because it wasn't long after Christmas and I'd watched Fred Claus over
Yeah.
Christmas. Yeah.
it was a bit weird seeing him there. But Andrew Garfield, I didn't think he could pull this off. I when I heard he was playing it, I didn't think that Andrew Garfield had it in him. Maybe because I haven't seen a lot of his stuff, but I just didn't think he could play such a sort of deep role. Boy, was I wrong.
He pulled it off very well, definitely.
He had the voice, he had the mannerisms, he had every last detail down.
He was believable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that I personally feel very happy for him, to be honest, because after Spider-Man, he was fired and it wasn't his fault. It was a real shame. The turnout of those films, that was supposed to be his big break, and then
It kind of was.
It was, yes.
It got him noticed.
Definitely.
I don't think I'd know him if I didn't watch Spider-Man.
Yeah, same here. But the films themselves obviously weren't a critical success.
No.
And that, that kind of that would have obviously put his career in sort of a downward path. But it's evidently picked up again, and he's landed an incredible role here. He did fantastically well. He might even win an Oscar for it, and that is brilliant. The fact that he's being recognised for his talent is it's great.
Yeah.
And he was in another film that came out around New Year's, which was called Silence, which neither of us saw.
No.
I was pretty demotivated by the fact that it was nearly 3 hours long or something like that.
I didn't even realise it came out.
Yeah, it was one of those under the radar type films. But yeah, so we don't know whether he was good or not in that. But yeah, he was great in Hacksaw Ridge, and it was fantastic to see him, being able to show his brilliant action ability.
I must say, a warning: if you're going to go see this film,
Yes.
like me, if you are weak-stomached, if you feel squeamish at gore, be careful when watching the film.
It's very gory.
I had to physically leave the cinema
Yes.
and just sort of calm myself down. It was not pleasant to watch, but it was just brilliant picture.
Yes.
So good, it made me physically have to leave.
Yeah, precisely.
It shows you what a Warzone was.
Yeah, it was realistic, and you may or may not like gore, and everyone's got their preferences. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But it was necessary gore,
And
that's what made it tolerable for me.
Yeah.
I don't go out seeking gory.
No.
But and a lot of people don't. But if it's necessary in showing the harsh reality of the war, if it's just necessary
It's like nudity.
in film in general. Yeah, if it's. I suppose if anything like that is necessary to the content you're watching, it is tolerable, and it definitely was in Hacksaw Ridge, and that the realism, the brutality of the war, and also all the sweet romantic moments between Desmond and his love interest Dorothy, and all the bits in the training camp, all of it comes together, and it makes a incredible motion picture. Hacksaw Ridge, brilliant film, very well directed by Mel Gibson.
Yes.
As well. Say what you will about Mel Gibson's opinions on certain subjects, but he is good at what he does.
Yeah, and let's leave him to do that.
Yeah, let's just leave him to make good films.
Yeah, we're not here to talk about...
We're not here to get political or anything.
No, God.
But yeah, Hacksaw Ridge, I would also give this a 10 out of 10.
I would give it a 9.5 for making me feel squeamish.
Yeah, and that's just personal.
That's just personal.
Yeah.
It was
And
really
it's
good
gonna be
film. Really good film.
very good film. If you can, unless you're squeamish, but you can sideline the gore
Yeah.
and take it for what it is.
Yeah, I would give it a 10. I just
yeah.
it's just me.
All right then. So let's move on to
A
more.
very, very serious film. I think
Yeah.
this is probably the most serious film you'll ever see in your life.
Yeah, it is very. This is like as close to real life as you can get.
Yeah. The Lego Batman movie.
Yes.
This film is just a laugh, isn't it?
It is. It is. It's just 90 minutes, 100 minutes of nerdy fun.
Yeah.
You know?
And it isn't a cash grab. It isn't.
Definitely not a cash grab.
It is just loved every minute of it.
Yeah, when the Lego movie first came out, a lot of people looked at it and thought, this could just be a corporate thing. It's just going to be a feature-length toy commercial.
Yeah.
That is not what the Lego movie was. It had a heartwarming message. It was funny. It had a story to it. It was, it was made with... it felt as though it was made with genuine love, interest and passion, and it was a great film, and it was, for the most part funny, and also a little bit emotional as well.
Yeah, it had an emotional tie towards the end, didn't it?
Yes, and the Lego Batman movie is pretty much the same, except with more Batman.
Batman. It was. I mean, there's not much I even want to say about it because it's just good. Like I'm literally doing what people do for La La Land. Why is it good? It just is.
Yeah.
There's no scene that's slow because the Batman is Batman.
It's just joke after joke after joke
yeah.
after joke, and then tear-jerking moment, and then
A joke.
more jokes. Yeah. And it's not so much of a spoiler to say that there are, emotional moments, because at the core of it there is there is an underlying sort of theme which is could be quite potentially tear-jerking, which we aren't going to say what it is.
No.
But there is an underlying theme, and it works.
You just look
very
at
well.
Batman's history, it's not exactly all roses and daisies.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what we're trying to reference here.
Yes, and even though it is more in the kind of ilk of the Adam West Batman, as in it's more comedic. It doesn't take itself as seriously. There is still an acknowledgement of that history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think just rate it now because everyone was good at it.
Yeah, animation superb.
Yeah.
You
Bit
know,
of stop motion in there as well, obviously, because they have to.
yeah. What? No, I think it's all entirely CGI.
Is it all CGI?
It's all CGI, and they make it look stop motion.
Oh, well, that's brilliant then.
Yeah.
They had me fooled.
Yeah. It's
Wow.
It's that good, and it's yeah. I mean, one thing I will say,
Oh.
it does feel a little bit like Clockwork, as in, it's sort of like there's a long string of jokes, and all the jokes are funny. Like, all of them, some of them have you laughing more than others, but all of them are,
That sort of nose exhale laugh.
yeah. Like, sort of, like when you're in the cinema, just to give it a little bit of respect, you go, like that.
Yeah.
Sort of
Well,
like,
sort of-
and if you're at home, you wouldn't laugh at it. Or maybe you would laugh at it. But, yeah, some jokes you find funnier than others, but all the way throughout, it is amusing. The only thing is that after a long string of jokes, you get a moment which takes itself a little bit more seriously. And it does begin to feel just a tiny bit repetitive in that sense, in that,
That's the Lego
loads
movie.
of jokes. And the Lego movie, I felt as though it was... I don't know, I felt the Lego movie was more sort of... It was like 90 minutes of jokes, and then 5 minutes of emotional, hard-hitting, let's convey the message. And then the ending was like, everything is awesome. The Lego Batman movie, there was a lot... I feel as though there was a lot more of that. That's sort of my only criticism, but it's a minor criticism in the grand scheme of things, because the whole film, it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, we didn't have a bad thing to say about it when we walked out the cinema, did we?
Yeah.
We just said, that was amazing.
It was just great. So, see this instead of 50 Shades Darker. basically.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a film obviously we haven't seen. 'Cause
Yes.
we're too young.
Yes, we are too young to see that. But
That
by the sounds of it, I don't think we want
I
to
don't-
anyway.
no.
It sounds like a load of abhorrent trash.
Yes.
I
would give this film a 9.
Yeah, 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
And I definitely want to go and see it. You've seen it twice,
I've seen it
haven't
twice
you?
now.
I've seen it the once
It's
with
as
you.
good as it is the first time when you see it twice.
I want to see it
and
again.
you pick up on more jokes.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh,
There's
sweet.
so many jokes in there that are underappreciated.
I look forward to seeing it again. And also, the soundtrack is another thing which is really good.
Oh, it's
It has some really cracking good tunes in it.
They did.
Yes. Right.
This
so
is the
now we move on to...
That's copyrighted.
Damn it!
Oh well. I doubt McDonald's is really going to try and shut us down.
Nah. If anything, they'll be happy that we've...
Yeah, because all the publicity from us two crowded around a desk is gonna bring them hundreds of, maybe thousands of people.
Yeah,
to
because
that.
they're really struggling.
They're really
right
struggling
now.
with sales, McDonald's. If you haven't got it right, the film we saw
The film we saw,
was The Founder.
The Founder. Yes.
Not the most obvious name for McDonald's. The picture, the logo,
the poster.
the poster. That's what I'm trying to say. That they use is very obvious because they have literally the McDonald's logo.
Yes,
there.
and you have Michael Keaton as the founder. His name being Ray Kroc, and he is the founder of McDonald's. So basically,
Ooh.
what?
Is he? Is he the original founder of McDonald's?
Well, he's the founder of the McDonald's we know today, but obviously, the original McDonald's was.
You could say it. It's in the trailer.
All right then. Yeah, the original McDonald's was just it was a small little restaurant, a nice little restaurant, that
Family restaurant.
yeah, that people could go to, and it wasn't so much of a huge commercialized thing. It was just a little.
It was a one store.
It was a nice little humble business, and Ray Kroc saw this formula of fast food that you can get in literally
30 seconds.
30 seconds.
That was a yeah.
He saw it, and he thought, I'm going to have that, and then he practically steals it, and then
Yeah.
the McDonald's we know today
Was
happened.
created. Yeah.
Yes.
That's all we'll say
Yes.
about it because that's pretty much what's in the trailer.
Although we can talk about opinions, obviously.
Obviously, yeah.
I thought this film was very charming. It had a lot of charming moments in it, which made me smile.
It made me laugh occasionally.
Yeah, it was mildly
It's not
funny.
marketed as a comedy. It's a drama history kind of film.
Yeah.
But there's a couple of humorous moments.
Yes, and I would say feel good, because of the charming moments, but ultimately, The Founder isn't a feel good film.
You do not like the founder.
You do not end up liking the main character by the end of the film.
Yeah. You'll see why. We won't say why.
Unless you
You're an
like
asshole.
you like people who
It's true.
who are steal other people's ideas and things like that. But yeah, that's not so much a fault of the film. They're just being truthful to
That's just
the
the story.
Yeah, and saying that it is, like, to sum it up, it's a good film, but it's just a bit annoying in that sense. But great cast. Michael Keaton is very good as Ray, and who are the other people we've got? Nick Offerman as Dick McDonald.
And John Carroll Lynch as Mac McDonald.
Yes, and we have Patrick Wilson in there as well, who's Scream King, been in a lot of horror films, and loads of other great actors as well. The cast is great,
A
and
smattering of actors.
yes, and also we feel like mentioning that there is one moment in particular that we
made us nearly cry with laughter.
Yes.
When we first heard it. We won't say it.
we won't say, but there's one bit in particular which we found hilarious.
Yes.
Of the utmost hilarity. So yeah, The Founder.
What else is there to say? The editing and music wasn't noticeable. But it
Oh
wasn't.
no, the edit. I actually thought the editing was.
Oh
the
wait,
worst.
God, yeah. Because there was that. Oh yeah, never mind.
There was a lot of editing mistakes.
I remember
in
it
this
now. I
film.
remember it now.
Yeah.
In editing, there's lots of rules so stuff doesn't flip up.
Get ready for an editing lesson.
Editing
folks.
lesson 101. There's a lot of rules so the camera, the picture doesn't flip over.
Yes.
So something is on the right to move to the left. Throughout this film, there were many a time where like a burger would just flip over. Not the burger will flip on its head.
Yeah. You wouldn't get someone with a spatula actually flipping it over. Like it would just magically.
It would literally just go from the right hand side of the screen to the left, and then in the next shot back on the right. And it's not noticeable at first, but if you look for it, it's annoying. And it does this a lot. There's like shirt buttons, there's flowers, there's just different things that happen, car windows, and it's not fun. And it was poorly edited, very poorly edited.
That is probably the worst part of it.
It was poorly shot because of the flip stuff where things flip. That's the shooting of it.
And also the transitions between the scenes,
Oh, yeah.
I felt were very quick. Like there wasn't much breathing space. It just sort of everyone kept talking and like.
That's McDonald's for you, 30 seconds. Maybe that's what they were going for.
Maybe that was intentional. You never know. But yeah, Founder, I'd give it a.
7.5, I'd give it.
You go for decimals?
I'd give it 7.
No, well, you gave a decimal rating for Hacksaw Ridge, so
Did I? Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Let's allow decimals.
Decimals
Yes.
are officially in the system as of today. The
Yes.
first episode.
So we don't just have to give a film a mark out of 10, we can give it a mark out of 20, which is great. And those people who who give films like 6.7 out of 10.
No, I'm
and
gonna
then
keep
you're
it
just
to
like what?
0.5.
What are you going to give it a rating out of 100?
No, I'm going to keep it to 0.5.
Yeah.
But no, I'd give it a 7.5, maybe a 7. It was.
I'd say 7 too.
Yeah.
Round about that.
The editing was bad, and the camera work was a bit shoddy.
And also
The transitions.
you're really annoyed with the main character. But other than that, it's a nice little
Thing.
passable, charming film.
Now this concludes the
this concludes-
section where me and Harry saw films together.
Yes.
Currently, I do not have any films I saw by myself on my list here. Harry has seen all the films by himself.
Yeah, I seem to have a lot more free time than you.
Yeah.
It seems that. I don't know why. But yeah,
What films did you see?
what films did I see? I went to see... Well, let's go film by film.
Let's go film by film.
So, I went to see Monster Calls
Yeah.
on my one. Monster Calls, it is based on the book of the same name by Patrick Ness. It's written by Patrick Ness, I believe, and it is about a boy whose mother is terminally ill, and in order to cope with his grief, a monster visits him in his imagination and basically helps him through it. I won't go into too much detail in case of spoilers. It's no longer in cinemas, so you can't go out and watch it at the pictures,
But you can wait for it.
but you can wait for it. And let me tell you, it is worth waiting for. A Monster Calls is it's a brilliant film. It's very emotional. It is a tearjerker. Watch this with tissues because you will cry. You will cry. If it weren't for the fact that I was in public when I was watching this film, I'd have probably been blubbering like a baby. I would have been wailing out. I would have been showing audible signs that I was finding it very, very emotional.
See, that's the difference between me and you. I cry in public. You wouldn't.
Well, I did.
You did, but
I
not-
just I was
you
just sort
had
of
to.
suppressing this.
I just don't
the
suppress.
wailing.
I sort of let, after like 30 seconds, if it's not gone, I sort of just say screw it and do it.
Yeah.
So a good motto to live by: screw it and do it. There you go, kids.
Screw it and do it.
Screw it and do it.
That should be like the motto of our podcast.
Hey, screw it.
Like if
When it comes to crying in a film, screw it and do it.
if the critics say don't go watch American Pastoral, but you think it sounds interesting,
Screw
it and do it.
There you go. I'm gonna get on a t-shirt.
Yeah, don't pay money to watch the big films like Fantastic Beasts. Go and watch American Pastoral.
Screw it and do it.
But yeah, Monster Calls. Yeah, we just sort of went off on a tangent there.
That's brilliant. That.
It was incredibly well acted. Felicity Jones, who was obviously in Rogue One recently, she shows amazing acting chops. Sigourney Weaver is great as well. Her accent slips a tiny bit, but she's great. The little boy who plays the main character is really good child actor. Liam Neeson as a CGI tree dude. I mean, what more can you want?
I mean, there was already big shoes to fill after Groot,
yeah,
the original CGI tree.
yeah. This CGI tree is more wise than Groot, I would say. Well, not wise. He has more vocabularistics. Let's say
You can say more than 3 words.
More than 3 words, yes, and more than 4 words actually.
I am
Groot. We are Groot.
I am Groot. Oh.
Yeah, that's slightly spoilery for Guardians of the Galaxy.
If you haven't seen it in 2 years.
Yeah, these are recent films, so we're more hesitant about that kind of thing. But yeah, man, it's great. Visually, it's stunning. It's there's a couple of animated sequences where the tree is telling stories to this young boy, and they are beautifully animated, very well animated, and they really bring the stories to life. Like, you often see in films where a character's telling a story, they just have a shot of them talking. It's not really that engaging.
Yeah.
Sometimes it works, just having the words, they work as well on their own. Sometimes it doesn't. To have a visual supplement that is, accompanying it, it works really well in this film, and it works well just in general. A Monster Calls is it's a great piece of work, and you will cry watching that film. And it is quite a sad watch though. There is little light relief in this film. It's very much a downbeat, depressing movie. So be prepared for that. Moving on, we have Split, which is a horror/thriller, I guess you could say, from M. Night Shyamalan, who is notorious for having started off his career well with films like The Sixth Sense and things like that I haven't seen. I don't think you've seen either.
No.
And having sort of gone on a downward slope, making rubbish films like After Earth and things like that. And just so that the listeners know, our stance on horror and all things freaky.
Yeah. I dare not go near it. Mainly because I'm so faint of heart as it is. I'm just terrified. So yeah, I don't really watch a lot of horror.
For me, it's basically just, it's not, I wouldn't call it a favourite genre, but, basically, I'll see any film as long as it's good. I don't care what the genre is. And, being scared sometimes that's, that's fun. For a film to do that to you, I guess, evoke sort of, jumpy reactions from you, or just making you, I don't know, just making you fearful. That's interesting that a film can do that. I find that interesting. That horrors are very engaging because they are, tense and they are scary, and so I'll go and see them. So I went to see Split, and it's about a man who kidnaps 3 young women, and he has DID, which is dissociative identity disorder.
Of course that's what it stands for. Can't think of anything else.
I was just about to try and make a new acronym at the top of my head, but I'm not going to bother.
DID, did.
Did. He
has did.
Yeah.
We just sound like idiots now.
We do. Yeah, it's a very dark film. It's a very dark film, and it's very strange in a lot of places. It's and that's sort of what makes it scary. Obviously the abduction theme, and another theme which is addressed later on in the film, which I won't spoil because it's sort of it's part of the crux of the main character's motivations. There's some pretty heavy stuff in this film. So it's not for everyone. I will say, its strengths are that it is very great edge of your seat stuff. I was on the edge of my seat throughout the majority of this film, and James McAvoy gives a frankly superb performance. Like, he is clearly having fun playing these multiple personalities. He makes a great distinction between each one. He throws himself into it. He's fantastic. Anya Taylor-Joy is great as sort of the main girl that gets kidnapped. The other two are more supporting characters. They aren't that great. The direction, like it is shot very well. There are sequences where it's sort of a character running down a corridor, which are shot, really nicely, and like obviously keep sort of the tension focused on these characters and makes you worried about.
Makes you feel that you are the character the way the camera.
Sort of, yeah. And it it makes you really worry for them. Are they going to get out of this? How are they going to get out of this?
It evokes emotion.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And there is a bit at the end, which I shall not spoil, a bit at the very, very end.
Yes.
Which it might make you confused. It makes you do a bit of Googling afterwards. Because, the very final scene of this film is very confusing. And also what is confusing, what took me aback, probably my biggest problem with the film, is that I wasn't sure whether I was watching supernatural horror or psychological horror. And that was the trouble with it, because this isn't really a spoiler to say. The 24th personality that is unleashed by the main character, Kevin, I think his actual name is.
Kevin?
Yes, Kevin!
It's Home Alone style now. Do you think that's what happened to Kevin from Home Alone?
Maybe. This could be like an indirect sequel to Home Alone. But yeah, 24th personality is the beast, and he's sort of when he adopts that personality, he sort of changes biologically, like physically.
Yeah.
And that's more that's going into the realms of supernatural territory.
And it's a bit
as opposed to, psychological territory. So like that sort of had me a bit confused. Other than that though, it's a decent thriller, horror, edge of your seat film. Yeah.
I must ask, is one of the personalities Charles Xavier?
Sadly not.
God damn it.
Sadly not, unfortunately.
I don't want to hear any more about it. What's the next film? I'm too upset by that.
We have... Oh, I didn't give Split or Monster Calls a rating out of 10.
Right, do Monster Calls.
Monster Calls gets a... I think I'd give it a 10 out of 10. Split, I'd give it a good 7 out of 10.
Right.
Sing. Sing is a good, light-hearted family film. There isn't really a lot you can say about it, basically. I went to see it when I was quite stressed with a lot of, college work. I was quite busy. I just wanted to have a little bit of light heart, just a bit of light relief. The songs are good. The animation is good, and kids will love it, and families will love it. Yeah, I'd give it a 7 out of 10. And now we move on to what is probably the biggest disappointment of all the films that we are talking about today.
Well, you say disappointment. Were you looking forward to it?
No, I wasn't. To be honest, the only reason why I saw this particular film is because I was seeing it with a friend of mine who likes horror films, and we were going to go and see Split. They couldn't come and see Split, so then we had to go and see this film, which is Rings, and it is a sequel, reboot. I don't know what it is.
Whatever you want to call it.
Whatever you want to call it.
It's bad.
It is bad. It was based on the old film, The Ring, which was based off a Japanese film, I think. It's about a tape.
You play the tape. You play the 7 days.
You got 7 days to live, and then at the end of it, the girl on the tape offs you, basically. Kills
Pretty
you.
much,
Yeah. And it was a load of garbage, basically. It was boring. It was lazy, because, you know, it relied solely on jump scares. You know that a horror film is lazy when it's not really got any real scare factor apart from the fact that it makes you jump.
Yeah.
Because that's just natural human reaction to be taken aback by something which is supposed to make you jump. The acting was average. The writing was really off. The dialogue was clunky in a lot of places. It just didn't really make any sense. Like, I doubt that if you paid attention anyway that you were going to make much sense of it. But, you know, I wasn't really paying a lot of attention because it wasn't engaging. Like, I lost interest in it. And I tell you something, and this is something that I've never witnessed before when going to the cinema, is that everybody in the cinema, in the screening that I was in, no one was silent. Everyone was talking. They were either murmuring, laughing about something in the film, or on their phone. There was a light in the corner of my eye throughout the entire film. I believe that was someone on their phone. These people had paid to go to the pictures, and they weren't even watching the pictures. And that just shows that the film was, you know, it was just boring and not engaging. And, you know, it's the same case with Assassin's Creed, really, in that, you know, like, you've got a lot of stuff which people need to pay attention to, but you don't want to pay attention to it because, you know, it's just not interesting. It doesn't hold your interest. And the ending makes no sense. It ends abruptly, but you know what? I don't care because I wanted it to end, really. Yeah. Rings, not worth your time, not worth your money. It's not worth existence. It's just trash. And out of 10, probably I'd give it... I originally gave it a 2, but I'd probably give it a 1 now.
On review.
I'm just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a nice way to finish.
Oh yeah.
Our
first ever episode.
Yeah.
Our first. I think that's the lowest rating we'll ever give.
Yeah.
Jesus. Well,
but I guess on a more positive note,
we'll be back next month.
We are back next month. This is going to be a monthly podcast.
Yes.
The last Monday of each month, we will release one of these on Callum's YouTube channel, and it'll be shorter than this one, the future episodes, because we're gonna have less films to talk about because we had 2 months worth.
So probably about half the amount of time that we did, which is
Yeah.
about an hour and 10 minutes at the minute.
Yes. So so if you have any feedback to give us, please do voice your feedback
Either in the comments or carrier pigeon, whichever one you want to do.
Yes, or a raven, good, like Game of Thrones, just referencing that. So any strengths, weaknesses, what you enjoyed, what you think could be improved, do let us know.
Pray tell.
We are open to
suggestion. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Please, keep it constructive. We are human.
Yes.
Yes.
We're not promising on seeing these films. We probably will, though.
Most likely.
We're most likely to see these films. We're not going to tell you what the spotlight is. We know what the spotlight's going to be. We're
yes,
not going to tell
definitely.
you.
And it might even be obvious to you listening.
So we next episode we'll have Logan, Kong Skull Island, which is King Kong, if you didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Beauty and the Beast,
the live action remake of the Disney classic.
Yes. And then Power Rangers.
Yes, which might be quite nostalgic for.
If you watched Power, I didn't, so it's just sort of.
I watched it every now and again on Toonatic. I can't remember anything that I saw.
No,
Nor can I remember having any particular attraction, attachment. That's the word I'm looking for. any kind of attachment to it. So yeah, but it does look like a lot of fun. It does look like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So yeah.
This is it.
Yeah, that concludes our opening episode. So yes, please do give us your feedback. Any feedback would be hugely appreciated. And this is going to be a YouTube video, so feel free to like, feel free to subscribe, and yes, until next month, I've been Harry.
I've been Callum.
And thank you for joining us at Picture Avenue.